Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Breakdown with Bethany. I'm Bethany Braun Silva, and today my guest is actress and dancer extraordinaire, and of course, mom, Jenna Dewan. I absolutely adore Jenna, and I really have such an affinity for dancers, and she is absolutely an incredible one. You all know that. On today's episode, we're going to be diving into Jenna's health and wellness tips for her family, including the financial wellness tips you need to know. We're also going to be chatting about Jenna's manifestation and spirituality practices. So this is one episode you're definitely not going to want to miss. Check it out. Hi, Jenna. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. I think you were just over in my neck of the woods for Fashion Week. How was it?
Yes, I flew in not last night, the night before. Whirlwind, in and out, did two fashion shows. It was so fun. I mean, it was a great time. It's a whirlwind. It's wild. Just the whole world of it, the chaos of, getting ready, getting there, all of it, but it's so fun. And I just loved it. It was so creative and beautiful, and the designs were amazing. And I had a really, really good time.
And I really do admire your style. I think, and we'll definitely talk about all your financial tips and everything, but if I ever have the chance to be in front of you, I have to tell you the impact that this burgundy, I don't know what event it was, you wore this burgundy dress with like a burgundy lip, and I was like, this woman is so amazing. I was like, this look.
You know what you're talking about. I think it was the Vanity Fair Oscars party. Oh, that's so sweet. I did love that dress. That was one of those, like, you just have that moment where it all comes together and the dress fits great. And thank you. That's really sweet.
Oh, please.
You have a wonderful, 2 hours of help ahead of time.
I would say that's it for me. I would need like 5 hours of help, but
The
2 hours.
2 hour natural look, that thing.
Yeah, but okay, so tell us about this partnership with Wells Fargo, because we really look to you for a lot of tips, right? Like health, wellness, fitness, and I also want to get into some of like your spirituality practice too, but tell us about these financial tips that you have for us with this partnership.
This Fargo Assistant on the Wells Fargo app actually was a game changer for me. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that struggles in this way, but I'm not the most organized. It's hard to manage all the things, and to be able to have one app I can go to for all things finances. You could ask Fargo, hey, what are the purchases I made recently? Where's my balance at? What's my account number? Can you send money to my friend for coffee? I mean, it's all in one place. And that for me was so simple and easy. It's a little intuitive. It starts to learn you and what you are saying and what you're needing and asking. It is truly like having an assistant right next to you who can handle all things. So it was a game changer for me. And I know that I'm not the only one that would be really in need of this. And so I thought getting this word out, if there's anything in life that can make it a little bit easier, flow a little bit more well, and just have things be simple, and having the overall financial health and well-being taken care of in a lot of ways. And that simplicity was amazing.
I love that, especially, I'm a mom of two as well. And this is like the craziest time of year because certainly like with the back to school, we have a million things that we have to, manage, but also there's like a million things we have to buy. And even though we get ahead of those back to school lists, certainly like my kids are only like a week and a half in and I'm already having to buy this, that, and the like, is that the same thing with you?
Yeah, back to school is its own circus every single year. And it's weird because we have this touch point every year of when it's back to school. And so you think back, you can look at pictures and you realize how much has changed, how it's always this like week that's so important. It's chaotic for sure. Like, I think I joked about it and put it on Instagram because the morning of, I have this like perfect, adorable picture of them smiling with their chalkboard that I'm forcing them to do in the morning. I'm like, please fill this out because I have it every year and it's more, it's this whole thing. And then like in between these moments of perfection, Callum didn't want his picture taken. Evie was shuffling her way to the car. I mean, you start seeing the reality in all this. It's thing, but I was actually weirdly very emotional this year. This was like the year that I went and looked at all the old photos and was like, oh, this is so amazing. They're getting so big. So it was a good week. This one went pretty smooth, all things considering.
That's great to hear. That was actually my follow-up question because I have that. You said back to school should be named back to me
Yes.
reminiscing and crying, looking at old pictures. It is so funny. It's like that thing we hear time and time again is like, we can't wait for the kids to go to sleep.
Yes.
And then when they do, we're like staring at them like, oh, you look.
Oh yeah, it's like your first weekend away. You're like, yes, we get some time alone. And then you're like, did you see this cute picture? Yeah, just how it goes.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But as I mentioned before, we really do look to you for a lot of, like health and wellness tips and just like you really do. I mean, maybe you don't feel like it all the time, but from an outsider's point of view, you really do appear to be like the epitome of health and wellness. And I'm also wondering, how are you sort of like passing that down or instilling that in your kids? And also I want to talk about confidence too, because you are in the public eye and you do have a daughter and things are really just like amplified more than ever with like scrutiny and stuff like that. So the
Yeah.
two-parter, yeah. So like health and wellness tips and then like instilling confidence in Everly.
Health and wellness. Well, I've been active my entire life as a dancer. That was a way of life. And I was a cheerleader and I was always on the go. And I was vegetarian early on. So I have felt the difference and I know what it feels like when I'm eating really well and I'm staying on top of fitness and I'm being active and when I'm not. So I know, that's kind of experience is your barometer. And so for me, my experience making healthier choices, I just live a way better life that goes into like all parts of my life. But I'm also a realist and I'm also in this thing of like, we don't have always the time. You cannot have all things going at one time. There's times where something has to give. So a lot of times when I fall back or I'm making, I'm not working out in the way I want to, or being active and dancing and all that stuff, I try and pay it back. So then I go, okay, I'm in a moment of this, love and take care of myself wherever I'm at here. But then I know that I feel better when. So making time, I try to do 2 times a week. I know that if I can make 2 times for sure, like a trainer appointment, whether it's Pilates or a walk or something, 2 times a week. And then I generally get more in there. But having that structure helps me. And the food thing is really, I really eat healthy. I would say I try to make good choice. I eat healthy. I like healthy food most of the time, but I also allow myself to, go splurge on nachos and have French fries. Like I think we should enjoy life at the same time. So the balance is everything for me, but I do feel better definitely when I'm active and eating better. So I just try to go back as much as possible. And it's easier to stay in a healthier mindset than get off it and then go back into it. So just trying to keep in that 80-20 mentality. But that's really nice of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
No, I mean, no problem, of course. And then I want to also follow up with that question about like instilling confidence. I mean,
Confidence, yeah.
it's unfortunate that I hate to even say that it comes with a territory when it shouldn't, like someone in the public eye. And we're seeing a lot of like that sort of mom shaming, even. I don't know if
Yeah.
you experience that, but I have boys and I don't worry about it so much with them. But my moms who have girls, it's like it's starting younger. And I'm wondering what you think about all that.
I feel like true confidence is really feeling good about who you are internally. And it's feeling without all the external things that are showing you how amazing you are and winning and succeeding and all this stuff. It's like, do you feel good inside? Like, are you a good person? Are you kind? I think that's the real confidence. That is something that I feel like that's unshakable if you can really work with that. And I do think life will give you moments where they take away these external things that are, outside telling us we're great, for you to really work on that and feel that. And so I do try and keep those values in my family a lot. It's being a kind person is more important than, looking amazing or having this confident dance competition weekend. It's really about like what's truly important. And that's where my spirituality and all that stuff kind of comes in as well. But I got a lot of confidence early on through dance because it was something I loved and I was passionate about it and I felt good doing it. And then it was this thing. So for me, I always tell people, I'm like, whatever it is that lights you up, follow it. Like follow the breadcrumbs of life. Cause for my daughter right now, she's super into drawing anime and she's super into Irish dance. Those two things are really lighting her up and bringing her a lot of confidence. And that's amazing. That's the best we can hope for. And my son, he's so little, but he's so social and he loves people. He loves preschool. He's great with basketball and he's like athletic. So I think that anything that is bringing that kind of joy, I'm like, let's follow it, So I think my not trick, but my like tips for happiness is like, what are you internally happy about and what brings you joy, and just follow that.
I think that's a great sort of like way to ground your parenting style, if you will, too. I mean, really, we talk a lot about like, different like parent-led, child-led, but really just like grounding in like what makes you happy. I feel like you can't go wrong. And actually, something my mom used to say to me when I was little was, your thoughts are things, what you think you become. And I know that you're very big into, like these sort of manifestation practices and spirituality. How are you instilling that in your kids?
Yeah, it's funny you just said this because right before this, your iPhone will show you memories. It showed me a memory of Ev when she was about like 3 years old, and we were outside. She was like pretending to meditate and was like, I think I'm hearing the trees. And it's this whole, and I was like, wow, I really unconsciously was probably instilling this in super young with her. She's very earthy. She's very intuitive. She listens to herself. She believes in herself. These things that are spiritual aspects, but they're also just how to live the best you can live. And I think that, I do think your thoughts eventually define who and what you're experiencing. So I feel like perspective and widening out as much as you can. And something feels so awful and it's happening to you, but generally if you zoom out, it's happening for you and there's something it's presenting. And the quicker you can get to that mindset, the quicker you find joy in the moment. So I think I instill this. You'll have to ask them when they're older, but I see little nuggets of it happening. And, we'll see with Calvin as he gets older, but you definitely start to see it with your oldest and little things that are happening that you go, oh, that was good. You were listening to me that time in life. And I was talking what I think was sage wisdom.
I love it. And then just finally, we're talking a lot about, mothers in the workplace, how we're reemerging post pandemic. I know that you are incredibly ambitious and you've talked about that. And I actually was watching an interview with you where you were talking about how like having a baby didn't actually slow down your career. It sort of helped it blossom. So I want to end with just maybe like words of wisdom for mothers who are maybe feeling in the trenches of motherhood and not able to like get back to their passions. Like, what do you want them to know?
I always felt so many times there's this feeling of, oh, I'm going to have my kids and like everything's going to stop, or I can't do this and do this. And I do think it's all perspective, right? You can have it all. However, all the burners can't necessarily be on at one time, right? So you've got to understand that life is going to flow and there's going to be times where, you're with your newborn and it is your grounding. It is mama bear time. You're there the whole time. Not to let go of your other dreams, but know that things are cycles and they're going to come in. And I am happy to share that like both my kids brought their own set of opportunities and abundance, and life did not stop necessarily. If anything, it just became more colorful. And I worked almost more. It was fascinating, but I was able to figure out how to balance, and they could be there a lot of the times, or you just go, okay, this burner's on right now. So when I get back, I'm going to deposit a lot of energy here. And you just start to balance. And like I said, I grew up with a working mom who was very powerful in her own right and had a very big job. And I saw that, and she was the best mother and loved me so hard. And I saw that like, that was important for her to have that part of her activated. So I do think that don't sell yourself short, but also know that you're not going to be able to do all things. Like you're going to have a baby and you're going to have to recover and give yourself grace and have that time. And you will flow into that stage when you're meant to, but it's this like, get back to shape right away. Ma, you're not doing it right. You should do it this way. And it's like, we all do it the way we're meant to do it. Like, just let's be kind.
Beautiful. This was such a beautiful conversation, and I really thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you. That was awesome.